Hi guys, new PsyScope 1.2. Gonna make a quick tour. What's new? It has been quite a big ride, so I make it better for now because a lot of stuff has changed. But let's see. So there have been some bug fix. First, when we had, I will make some sound. When we had some 0 dB line in we could show reference dB line and show reference dB line. There was a bug if you set it to keyboard. With mouse it was okay, but when setting with keyboard and then when you reside UI it was messing the lines. No, it's okay. So that's it. No, there was a slight improvement in zoom also, because when the UI 8 changed, it was making the zoom more or less slow. Now it's consistent and it's much faster. Drawing has been improved a lot. So yeah, so what's new in now we can have the dB in here at the mouse position. We can see the dB at the line, but previously we couldn't have it in dual modes, in L or R, LR or MS. Now we can have it also on those modes. And if you right click, they are overlap, and we can also see that small thing. On change for renaming sound, previously we just double clicked on cell, but now we have to press Control. So because if we click fast, we could trigger the pop-up, which can be annoying. So that's one thing. What else? In stack view now, we can also, on top here we have the dB of the what we are under. For example, kick, bass, noise, glass, and so on. Small improvement. What else? Color. Yeah, if we are in frequency gradient, it has been boosted to be more bright. I think it's a bit better and more orange on the blue to red. Small thing. So now some big change. Now it has been changed so that normally the drawing is synced with the screen drawing. So by default it will be in fast mode. It's like half the screen refresh rate. If you are ultra fast, it's full screen refresh rate. But if you have a really fast screen, and you observe some UI lagging, you can lower here. But I left it too fast for now. So yeah, also in this mode, now in About, you can store default. Your settings says you set your FFT, your show 0 dB lines or stuff like that. You can store it to a default settings. So a new instance will try to have a look at this file, and if they find it, they will apply your default preset. Yeah, so what's new? It has been improved in precision in clock. Sometimes you had some little glitches with some tempies. Now it's better. No more full repent. Yeah. Previously also, when the loop buffer arrived at the end, it was repainting all, which could be slow if you had like 2 bars. So now it only redraws the small sections that has changed at end and start, and it's much faster. What else? So yeah, one thing that changed is now we have a split screen. So here, for example, I'm in a wave view, and if I double click, I will have both view. And if I double click on the FFT, I will have the full view. So you can easily switch from the wave view to the spectrum view. And now we can also choose resize the ratio between the two. That's it. Now we have a zoom, also a vertical zoom in the FFT, but it's more for something else. I explain you. So what's new on the FFT side? There is a big change now. Is that here on the FFT settings? Previously, we only had the FFT size on the, let's say, the refresh rate was linked to the global refresh rate. But now there is a rate because there are some new stuff and it needs to be really precise. So now you have also a rate. So basically that means here that it's 500 samples, it will recompute the last 4K samples to get the FFT. So the faster, the more real time it is, but higher CPI, and slower it will be sluggish. But if your computer is slow, normally I will recommend to let by default. So now we are with the mule, we can also toggle from one mode to the other. And new stuff in Spectrum, you can now have some bars. So here there's a bar section, you can show bars, and you can have color per bar, which is the intensity of each frequency band. And you can set the number of bars if you want only 4, and it works for all modes, stack layers, and yeah, and you can shape the, you can use keyboard, you can shape if it's normal or if it's with the intensity of the bar, and so this works also with peak. If you show peak curves, you will have the peak of the bar. Because here, for example, we don't hit the average, but if you zoom, you can see that there are some peaks here. So that's a new thing, and it works in dual channels. So if you have two channels, here they are the same. So, but yeah, it's different. Yeah. So now I will remove bar section for now, but it's here, bar section. I will also remove peaks. So yeah, there's for now it's experimental, but I think it's it can be quite fast. Use OpenGL, it will use hardware acceleration, so it's much faster to resize. When you have big size, it will be faster, I think, and oh, sorry, on some if you have a good GPU. So now there is a drawback of the new system, is that I wanted it was becoming really hard to have all the steps synced and optimized depending on multiple instances. So now you can only have one instance that is the master instance showing. If I try to open a new instance, it will hide the other. You have to choose one instance to be the master. You can click on it. So this allows much better performance, and it's a drawback. But I think when you see what it allowed, it's quite better, I think. So because now we have some new stuff. We have spectrogram. So if I click EMG here, image, it's a spectrogram image, and by default it's overlaid with curves, but you can use mouse wheel to set the alpha. If you right click, you have the spectrogram menu, and you can have it only, and when it's only, you get curve. Your mouse will show the the spectrogram values. Otherwise, it can be for the curves. Here the mouse is the hertz is depending where you are on the screen for the curves. So yeah, spectrogram. So how it works? It's so let's say I make it full for now. Half. Its spectrogram is also using the FFT. So when you compute the FFT, the size is also the size for the spectrogram resolution. So if you say 8K, you will have more frequency resolution, but less time resolution. That's always a drawback because you average 8K samples. But let's say I stay on 8K, and here it's the rate same is how often subsection will be computed, but I think 512 is quite a good compromise. So as you would expect in PsyScope, spectrogram works for all sounds. You can show every samples, every sound source. You can show the sum, and you can show the layers. So in layers mode, it was quite tricky, but you get color per sound. So you got all your my kick is in red, the bass in yellow. If I remove the kick, you can see the bass in yellow, the noise. And let's say I remove the harsh stuff, so you can see okay, the noise is here on the layer where it interacts, and you can check on the sum how that sum. So what do we have as option? We can, for example, we can make it scroll. So like the waveform, we can also make it scroll. But yeah, I won't make it scroll for now. We can make it horizontal, like it's synced with the waveform, but we can make it vertical. So also scroll vertical or inverted. And then we can zoom in the spectrogram. So if you zoom, you see you have not a lot of resolution by default to optimize CPU, but you can raise here in an image. You have Y resolution. That's the resolution of the internal image. So if you really want to inspect and zoom, you can raise this. So let's say I go really high for 4K. Now I have more precision in the highest frequency to inspect, but it's quite CPU demanding, so I would not recommend. By default, it's enough for most tasks, I think. So yeah, and it syncs. So it's it's 1 bar scrolling. If you go really fast, you can have interesting things. And also you have a real-time mode. So real-time mode is the current frame, FFT frame. You can see it as in real time. So you can see it match with the curves. Where are the peaks? Stuff. So yeah, spectrogram. And let's say I say it full, and I'll move. Then you have some color maps, so that's mostly for the sum and sum mode. For example, you can choose different maps, it by default, or some, let's say I make it faster, some other mode where mapping, different mappings for the colors, ocean, pinky. Anyway, you get the idea. But I let default for now. And then from sound, that means that if I click on a kick, the kick got the color of the sound. If I didn't have this, it's the map, the default map. But it can be cool to see which sound. So if you make things from sound on layers, you will also see each sound colored. If I didn't have this, it would be all adding. And it's an additive mode. In layers mode they add, so you can see where there are some really nasty peaks. And then you got some gamma and bias. So if you, let's say, contrast and gain. So if I put more contrast, see there is more contrast, and again it's the value of the. And for example on zoom, you can check here it's too much, so I will reduce. And if you go lower, you will have more details in the not so much audible range, so you can adjust. And yeah, if it's really in spectro, if it's in spectro only, you will have the grid of the spectrogram. You can also set the grid in so the grid is still here in the global FFT detail. For example, I will have all the range. And if you move your mouse over some place, you will have the dB. For example, here it's silence, here -60, etc. But to get this, you have to be in spectro only. If you are in half, it will more use the curve, because as we see the curve, it maybe make more sense to have the curve values. So that's something to keep in mind. You get the frequencies of the curve where you are hovering. Okay. So yeah, spectrogram, and as you would expect in PsyScope, it also works so in layers mode and in stack mode. So it can be trippy to see all the sound spectrogram. For example, fast. I will make the sound because we don't hear them. So you can see where the snare hits. Yeah, spectrogram. So I will make by default for the values. So yeah, we can see snare, scale, hits, bass, kick. I will make it normal, horizontal. Bass. Let's remove the scroll. Probably on the glass, which is a lot of sinus, we can clearly see. And you can zoom, yeah. The zoom is more useful for the spectrogram, I think. You can inspect some regions. So yeah, spectrogram, I think made it all. Yeah. And now you have a little more step, you have corrolometer. So now you can also drag this section and you'll have a volume fader, a dB fader with the peaks on RMS and a corrolometer. So it lets you know, it's Lisa juice mode for those who know. It lets you see if it's really straight line on the top, it means it's mono. If it's more horizontal, it means stereo. And here on the fader, you can see we are more on the mono side. So it's okay. It's okay to have stereo, but if you go too much on the S side, that means you are antiphase. You have no more correlation, and if you merge to mono, you will have some problems. And also some LR shows us balance. For example, if I use this sound, which is shitty, but just as an example. So this is this operator. We can see it makes crazy shapes here, so we can scale. And let's say I put it. I don't know if you can. I hope you can see the. If I put it mono, it's straight line. If then I put balance full on left, it's on the left, right. So you get the idea. And if I push the stereo, now it's more wideish than on 8, and now it start to be problematic. For example, let's say I put it on mono, and I duplicate this invert phase. Here I'm fully out of phase. So now, you know, I don't even have a signal, but here you can see that it's really out of phase. If it's at -1, you are anti-correlated. So yeah, that's it. I think, yeah, for now there will be more options, but the faders adapt to the scale if you want a more horizontal or vertical, and it shows what we have here. For example, if I show the sum, it will be the summing mono, but I can have the 2 channels. And if you double click, you reset because this is the RMS faders, RMS values. Here you got your peak hold, and here it's clipping. It shows me that it's red. It's because I'm over 0 dB. So that's it. And yeah, so I know and there are many improvements in display mode, and I think it's quite a good version now. But yeah, that's it. So anytime you can double click to have your full view. So I will make it as a beta for now, because as many stuff changed, I will let the other version online and give you a link to this version if you want to test. And but I think it's quite solid now. So yeah, I hope you enjoy. Bye.